So this week's question came from a DJ who did a gig about 3 weeks ago, and they provided lighting for the bride and groom and their wedding. And what they told me was that when they got to the facility, the facility was starting to mess with the design of the lighting that the bride and groom wanted. They told the caterer, they told the guy doing the lighting he couldn't do it that way. And then the photographer came in and he had a problem with the lighting that he was providing with everybody. And then the videographer, he had a problem, and they were trying to change things and they were making it really difficult. And then they were going to the bride and groom about it. They were really upset. Boy, those photographers, those other vendors, they just don't understand that I'm trying to provide something for the bride and the groom. Okay. Hi. It's Bill. This is Creative License. My sponsor is Electro Voice, DJ Event Planner, Promo Only, Disc Jockey News, and of course my workshop, The Entertainment Experience. So, what do I think of that? I think, and those of you that watch the show probably won't be surprised, but I think that the DJ didn't do his due diligence. I think that we should and are responsible for who we are and what we do. We need to be responsible for how things show up for the client, and we need to be responsible for the things that are going to happen, so we need to get ahead of those things. And if the DJ was butting heads with the photographer, the videographer, and the caterer, then the DJ did not discuss the lighting with any of those people. He gave no thought to how what he was doing was going to affect somebody else's job. Okay? Because of his work with lighting, because there was not a discussion, it made it more difficult for the photographer and the videographer and the caterer to deliver on their service. Now, is that your problem? I don't know that it completely is our problem, but if you take on that you are responsible for how the event goes and that we might have problems at the event because there's pardon the expression, a pissing contest between you and the other vendor that goes right to the bride and groom on their day, then, you're kind of responsible for that because you could have and should have talked to them. Do you really believe that what you do in that room, when it comes to the staging of the room, the way it looks, is not going to affect what a photographer can do in that room, the kind of things they have to deliver? Shouldn't they get an idea of what you're going to have and what you're going to bring? Some of them are not going to care. But at the very least, a courteous phone call will get you a lot of points with the photography community. Same thing with videography. I don't really know if I remember why the caterer had a problem with it, but they did. And they may or may not have had a good point. And the other vendors may or may not have had a good point too. But this could have been avoided if you take into consideration that when you adjust how the room looks, what you are doing now affects other vendors, right? It's not just because it's going to make you look good. It does. For you to be able to provide lighting, whether it be uplighting or lasers or moving heads or whatever, those things are cool and they make us look good, but they can get in the way of the other vendors delivering on what they have to do. And if you don't have a discussion with them, then they can't collaborate. They can't be ready for you when you arrive. You can't adjust on the fly usually. All you got to do now is on the day of the event is be mad about it, turn off a light and go, I'm going to tell the bride and groom that you and we're going to have a thing, and the bride and groom might be unhappy because I couldn't do a light. Okay, but not the day of. You are making an impact on how the room looks and feels because of your lighting, because of your music, because of your setup, because of everything you do. And if you're not reaching out to those other vendors, then that's just not courteous, right? And it creates a problem that does not have to exist because you took the time, because you didn't take the time to talk to anybody. So my advice, cover your bases, right? Reach out. Before I even sell any kind of lighting, I'm sure that I talk to the bride and groom and let them know that I'm going to have to talk to their photographer, the videographer, and the space to find out what I can get away with and what's going to work well with everybody before I sell them any lighting. It may not sell me as much lighting, but it certainly gives me a lot more of a professional way about me when it comes to how other vendors speak about me. What do you think of this? Have you dealt with these problems? And when you have, how did you handle it? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, this is Bill. This is Creative License.